Yup. Here it is. Here it is. Yeah. What is that? No, it's not it. Alright guys, welcome back to another RWBY video. Today, we are finally back with the second part of RWBY Volume 8. I am so excited. We have never gotten a break this long. It's been 2 months, almost 2 months. I'm really excited to see where RWBY takes this volume because I really enjoyed Volume 8. Volume 8, it honestly felt like the first half felt like a volume on its own, and it felt like we did so much, way more than we did in Volume 7. Like way more, no comparison whatsoever. That's why I felt like when Chapter 7 hit, you could have called that its own volume, and then after that move on to the next volume. Like that's in my opinion, because I feel like just how much we were able to accomplish. And now you have like the writers and like just the RWBY overall saying like, oh, you thought the first half was something, just wait until the second half comes out, because that one's going to be darker and it's going to be like more intense. And the promotional videos that we've gotten and like the little snippets of what's coming up have really helped to hype up what's about to happen, because we have the promise of Cinder breaking out Watts. We have the Hound versus RWBY. This is the 100th episode, and in the 100th episode, RWBY is finally going up against the Big Bad Wolf. And like I said this in my last RWBY video, but if this was planned, then I will honest. I mean, that's great planning from RWBY. That was brilliant. Like, okay, we'll wait until the 100th episode, and then after that, we'll have RWBY finally face off against the Big Bad Wolf, which is basically like the original characters, Red Riding Hood's like opponent in her story. So to have like, you know, it all lead up to this, it's amazing. I'm like, I have a lot of complaints about RWBY, but overall I really love this show. I love that we were able to get to or RWBY was able to get to 100 episodes. It's such a huge accomplishment, and I know the creator of the show, Monty, is looking down and just with a smile on his face to see that his friends are able to carry on his show and to bring it to this. So yeah, I don't want to waste any more time. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I have a feeling we're going to be in the Schnee Manor this episode. So we're going to be seeing a lot of Hound action. We're going to be hopefully maybe seeing some Willow action, and maybe even a corrupted Penny. So not going to waste any more time. Let's get started. Before that though, real quick, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, then you can like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already, in order to not only to know when I upload a new RWBY content next, but also when I upload my Miraculous videos, or my anime reactions, or my WandaVision reactions. So thank you again for watching, and now let's really get started. Honestly, that works for real life too. Willow, she's drinking still.
So kind of you to join us, Mother.
Believe it or not, I am above drinking in the dark. Oh.
Okay.
Hello, Klein.
SDC executives have their own auxiliary power supplies in case of a citywide blackout. It's extremely unfair, but perhaps now isn't such a bad time for company perks.
We don't just have perks. We have the company. The people you mentioned in the crater. They need a way out, right? There are rows and rows of cargo ships just sitting in the hangars because of the embargo.
And our own automated drones, like the ones at Snowshoe Shipping.
We can order as many as we need to pilot our ships down to the crater.
Okay, let's go, Whitley.
While the Grimm are occupied with the General's forces.
We can?
I can. I just
He's now the head of
need to get the power back
the Schnee Company, right? Because his father's in jail, or is that not how it works? Does Jacques need to die? If they need Jacques' approval, that's gonna be fun.
Oh, come on.
Don't worry. It'll work.
Nothing else has.
I know you don't always know what to do, but that's never stopped you from doing something. I was
you know what
like
this
that as a
reminds me?
girl, but time and a lot of other things took their toll on me. And then I wasn't sure if that kind of girl could actually survive in the world. Until I met you. It was a little strange at first because you were younger, but I've always looked up to you, Ruby. And I still do.
Thanks, Blake.
It's all gonna come towering down, isn't it? Oh. Alright, the lights are back on. But yeah, at the end of the day, you know...
What?
Oh no. Oh no. Shit.
What was that?
Willow, no! We need you in your summoning.
Ruby!
This is no time for
wait.
drinking.
Weiss, there's a Grim that... Look out!
Can you handle this?
Assuming you can handle that.
We still need to work on your attitude.
Alright. Alright, here we go. Shit. You need all of Team Ruby.
It's just a Grim.
Yeah.
Just focus.
Ah. Take the girl. It's going after the silver eyes.
Ruby!
No, no, no. It's not even. Why is it going after the silver eyes? Salmon didn't tell her to do that.
Climb! There's a Grim here, and others might be nearby.
Well, I'm
Keep everyone
begging
together
you,
and help us out of
please.
trouble.
I
course.
know it's not easy, but you have to.
Madam, please try to calm yourself.
Do this. I can't do this.
Willow, please come back.
Uh-oh.
Goodness, try not to.
Shit.
No, not again.
Aw. What? Oh, it called for more Grim. That is beautiful. And now it's going after Penny.
It's not here for me! It's here for Penny!
So then why did it grab you? Oh,
Help the others.
great.
I've got her.
Yup. Here it is. Here it is. The other Grim filled with acid.
You're okay. Please.
I don't want to do it!
Hey. No one's gonna make you do anything you don't want to do.
But there is a part of me is making me.
It's just a part of you. Don't forget about the rest.
Klein, it's coming inside. Stay quiet. I'm on my way.
Do hurry. Ridley and Willow.
That wasn't even
return.
Watts that did that. I think that was
Where'd
just
Mom go?
her. That was when Ironwood was trying to take her over. Great. I can smell your green Nickelodeon oil.
Above you!
Come on. Come on, Weiss. I wish you'd use more like sword fighting.
Mom?
She can see
I can see it.
the cameras.
It's outside Winter's old room. You can kill it. Can't you?
What is it doing?
It's looking.
I'm not sure. It's acting strange. Why is it here?
It doesn't matter. Just keep an eye on it so I can track it down.
Right. Right. Okay. It's moving again, heading towards... Oh dear no.
I can do this. I can.
Oh no! Cause he's
You are the last
covered
thing
in
I
it.
need. All that's left should be.
Willow's gonna come and save Whitley. That would be so cool.
Credentials verified. Click to proceed.
I know.
It does sound like a woman. Yeah! Ah! What is that?
Thank you.
Shit.
I didn't forget
Oh my
you.
god, sweat.
Go!
Meanwhile, whatever the
How did they get more disgusting?
whatever this is. She asked why do they get more disgusting?
I don't know if you can hear me. But I need you, Ruby. We all need you.
This is a good fight. Nice! Oh my god.
Please. Get up.
Nice. Oh, I love that pose too.
I could hear you.
That was good. What was that? Was that Penny? Damn, that scream. There she goes. Not again. Stop pushing him.
What are you doing?
I must open the vault. And then self-terminate.
Oh my god. Damn, I was about to say, oh, Penny can beat the Hound? No.
That's enough.
Let's go. Is that it? I think that's it. No, it's not it!
Take.
Who is that?
Take.
Oh my god, we're dealing with Nomu. We're actually dealing with Nomu. Oh my god!
Girl. Take the girl. Take the girl. Take.
Yo, no way! Is that somebody that we know? He looks familiar. Doesn't he look like that bat Faunus? Because he had the goatee. I'll have to look back. He looks like the goat Faunus. And the fact that they just showed some random person, that's only the first.
It was a person.
That's only the first. Oh my god. And he leaves the bones behind. Oh my god. How much time do we have left?
You know, this may be the first time I've ever been happy to see you.
Of course she would say some shit.
Cinder. What are you?
It's my turn to ask for something.
Okay. Okay. I mean, good on you for bringing a rocket launcher at least. Oh, and you missed. Okay. I can't believe that. I've never had a ranking list for all the volumes in RWBY. It's usually just been Volume 2 is my favorite volume, and Volume 5 is the stuff of nightmares. Boring nightmares. That being said, Volume 8 is slowly working its way up. Maybe not as my favorite volume, because I still feel like Volume 2 accomplished so much. But I would say that Volume 8 is making a place as my second favorite volume of the series. And that's just because, like Volume 2, it's accomplishing so much and it's doing so much in its short amount of time. Like I said before in the beginning of the reaction, Volume 8, honestly, the first half could have been its own volume. And the reason why I say that is because it basically equals all of Volume 7. Just those beginning 7 chapters equals all of Volume 7. Just as far as like pacing and just reveals and action and so on and so forth. And I'll be honest, that sort of made me a little worried because yes, we had this crazy nice pacing in the first half, but does that mean that the second half is going to sort of like die down because of how much they did in the first half? Did they just do too much too early? And then we get this chapter 8, and just the amount of stuff that was in it with Whitley and Willow and the Hound and Ruby and Blake, like all of those things just coming together in one chapter. I am honestly more at ease going forward with the future chapters. I have a lot more faith in RWBY than I did before this chapter, before I started watching this chapter. But that was just my quick little thing. I honestly really enjoyed this chapter so much, and I can't wait to break this down. It's been a couple days. I've rewatched the chapter multiple times. I've seen some reactions for this chapter, and I feel like I let the chapter cement enough for me to like really give my thoughts without like letting the hype take over how I feel. So I have some notes here. This is why I'm going to be kind of glancing back and forth a little bit. If you guys notice, I have some notes here just going over what I want to talk about that happened in this chapter. So let's just get right into it. Starting with the jailbirds, I want to just talk about what happened in the beginning of the chapter and the end, because the real meat is what happened in the Shnee Manor. So I just want to get the jailbirds in the prison out of the way real quick. So we open up the chapter with waking up with Crow, and he's woken up by the sounds of war outside, and it just dawned to me that, wow, these guys have no idea what's going on outside. Like, apart from Watts, who's probably been like, you know, texting Salem with his broken scroll that he got from Ironwood, everybody else probably has no idea what's going on. They don't know that Salem has entered the kingdom and that there's a whole war going on and that the kingdom is filled with bombing runs and grim. They have no idea. And we can tell that they seem to be like a little bit on edge, especially Jock. But more importantly, Crow and Robin, they seem not to be getting a lot of sleep. And I wonder if this is going to affect their fighting styles in the future. If, like, you know, this whole environment and having survived the plane crash may affect how they fight and may hold them back when they get back into the action, which is pretty interesting to think about. I wonder if this is going to be a sort of a thing they have to hurdle. We then get like a giant explosion coming from Cinder, breaking into the prison, and we get this weird shot with Robin and Crow, and it just cuts to Robin and then it cuts to Crow and he's a bird. And I immediately thought, oh, that must be Raven, because we didn't even see Crow like, you know, motion to turn into a bird or anything. He just bird. And it turns out it actually is Crow. He just turned into a bird, and it's not Raven. So that's a good and bad thing. It's good because, oh, maybe my theory that she's gonna show up in the whale and help out Yang is right, but it's bad because I just like full on went, it's Raven in the reaction, when it definitely wasn't at all. Crow turning into a bird though, kind of like it's kind of funny in my head now, because now all I can think about is pufferfish when like they get scared, they just blow up, you know. Now I'm thinking like, okay, was Crow just so scared that he jumped and turned into a bird? It's just my headcanon now. Every single time Crow gets scared, he jumps and turns into a bird. It's just his instinct. So Cinder shows up. She grabs Watts out of the rubble. Speaking of the rubble, Robin and everybody gets crushed under rubble. I'm sure they're all gonna be fine. Even Jacques is probably gonna be at the most really injured, but I doubt he's gonna die. It just feels like a weird way for a character to go, just like dead under rubble. So I doubt they're gonna kill him off like that. But yeah, I'm sure they're fine. But Watts gets free. Cinder helps him out, carries him fireman style, and then shoots out. Good on the Atlas military for bringing in a rocket launcher. I mean, at least they didn't bring in just like guns to try and take down a maiden. They were like, okay, maybe we should bring like a rocket launcher, at least an RPG or something, you know. So, you know, good on them for not just going in there completely dumb. It doesn't work out, of course, and they're able to escape. And now they're on their way to Penny and Ruby, so that's going to be fun to see. We're going to see if Watts is able to take over Penny, which I'm sure they will be able to. We're probably going to get a fight between Penny and the good guys, but, you know. So moving on, real quick, I want to talk about the scene that we got with May flying through the aerial battle as she was heading back to Mantle. There are three things. One, those squid monsters. I had no idea those things were as big as they are. Like, I thought they were probably as big as, I don't know, like tall humans, but those things are the size of like Atlesian cruisers. That one of them was actually taking one of those things down. And now all I want is an aerial battle around those giant squid monsters as they're trying to take it down, like just shooting around like its head and its arms and all those things. I think that would be pretty cool. Two, the bomb runs. May just confirmed that there are bombing runs going on inside Atlas. So I'm just wondering what Atlas looks like now, like with Grim all over the place and like just explosions everywhere. There's probably like ruined buildings and stuff like that. I don't know where all the people are. I guess they're just like underground, like in some kind of bunker or something like that. But the Atlas city itself is probably like turned into a war zone, like a Halo map at this point. So I'm wondering I have a feeling Atlas is like, it's done. Atlas is finished now. I think all we can hope for is that Atlas crashes down, the people are safe, and now people of Mantle and people of Atlas are working together for whatever kind of future is in store. But yeah, I think Atlas is finished. And third, while I was watching May fly around like the Grim battle, around like my third or second watching, I just thought about like how cool it would be to get like a flash game of you as May instead of Ship just flying around and just dodging Grim and like shooting them down if they get too close. Like one of those flash games that you would get in Cartoon Network, you know, like those games that would be based off shows that would be shown at the current time. I don't know about anybody else, but I would love a May flash game. I think that'd be pretty cool, you know, maybe RT if you want to, you know, take ideas, maybe. I know they're not actually watching this. But yeah, those are just the three things that kept popping in my head when I was thinking about May's little scene. So now I want to move on to the main course of this chapter, which is the events that took place in the Schnee Manor. And how I'm going to cut this down is, first I'm going to talk about characters, then the action in the chapter, and then wrap it up talking about the tension that we got in this chapter. So first off, the characters. So I want to talk about probably the most stressful character in this chapter, Willow. Her character went through such a tremendous change in this chapter. Like while everybody was battling Grim and Clem was getting abused by Penny twice, Willow was battling her own fight against her fears and her addiction. And personally, I think RT displayed that fight really well, showing Willow wanting to go for the bottle so she can so she could just numb herself from what was going on, but at the same time she knew that she couldn't because her daughter and her son were in trouble and they needed her to be like, you know, not be basically dead weight, drunk and just like on the floor. They needed her to be there. So she had that fight, like, you know, what's more important, you know, my comfort or my kids' health. And I really like the part where she, like, you know, had to choose between the bottle and the scroll, and she smashed, and she, like, I'm guessing just smacked the bottle onto the ground and went for the scroll to help her daughter. I think that was a really powerful scene. I think it would have been even more powerful if they showed her, like, smacking the bottle on the ground. I think that actually seeing her hit that bottle and like, you know, choose the scroll, I think that would have made that decision even more powerful, like, and would have been perfect. But what we got was still really cool. Once again, Willow just had an amazing character turnaround in this chapter. I don't want to say up till now Willow has been like selfish, but at the same time I can't ignore that, yes, while Jacques was doing whatever to his kids and to her company, she was just numbing. She just fell into the hole that Jacques laid for her, and she made no effort to get out. Like, she had been defeated and been beaten, and she just sort of became, I guess, is indifferent the right word, towards the situation? Like, she just became numb, and her kids at that time, at the end of the day, needed her, but she wasn't there. So seeing her, first she came to terms with like that, with the fact that she failed her kids in the last volume, and then in this volume she did something about it. So I really like what they did with this character. I think though her fight is no doubt not over, this was a good show of her taking the first step, the first necessary step to recovering and to becoming a mother again to Weiss, Winter, and to Whitley. So I think that was really cool. Also getting the chance to see her summon. Like, if you read the comics, then you know that she was able to summon already. In this chapter, seeing her summon, really hyped, really like cool to see it, like, you know, visually on screen. But for those that didn't read the comics, they didn't really need to know that, you know, Winter had the ability to summon. I mean, after all, she is the daughter of Nicholas Schnee, so there's no doubt that he would teach her how to summon. So it's not that crazy. Like, if you hadn't read the comics, it's not like you were left out or anything. It's probably still a really cool moment to see her summon what was it, like some kind of I forgot the name of it, but it was like a warthog grim, the one that turns into Sonic the Hedgehog, and it was really cool to see her sort of become a Schnee again. And then finally, like a small little thing I noticed, her vodka was called Swan Vodka. That's a drink that she, I think, smacked away. And I'm wondering if this is like foreshadowing to her, like, you know, summoning a giant like swan grim, or it doesn't have to be a giant, but like, you know, a big swan grim. I don't know if it's foreshadowing, or I don't know, maybe it's just a good vodka and they decide to show it off. Maybe they'll make their own vodka, like how they made their own coffee, who knows. But yeah, it's just something that I noticed. Moving on to the next Schnee, Whitley. He also got a huge character development moment in this chapter. I mean, multiple moments. He was very helpful in this chapter. It's really cool because when we first met him back in volume 4, he was basically the annoying little brother. Like, he wasn't an antagonist really towards Weiss, but he also wasn't the comforting brother. He wasn't like understanding or anything. He was just like, when Jacques basically, like, you know, smacked the shit out of Weiss and took away her company, all Whitley did was just like, oh, well, that's sort of what happens when you mess with father. You shouldn't have gone there. It's my company now. So yeah, he didn't really do anything wrong, but at the same time, he was a bit of a dick. I really like how they what they did with his character in this volume, because even in volume 7, while once again he didn't do anything, he was also like just annoying. In this volume though, like we see him turn from annoying to sympathetic to useful to likable to useful. It's such a huge turnaround for the Schnees. Like, these characters who seem to be only one note actually getting like more layers. Like, we see why Whitley is like this. We see what the Schnee environment did to him. And we see him battling against that and becoming his own person again. I mean, you can feel just how hard it was to be the third child in the Schnee household, because by the time he was born, Willow was probably just like, I don't really care anymore. Here's another baby. Do whatever you want. I'm gonna go drink. So without Willow, Whitley was forced to sort of just try and copy Jacques, because Jacques doesn't like anybody more than he loves himself. So the best thing that Whitley could be was another Jacques. But it's really cool to see him like step out of that now and, like, you know, become his own person, and having him help out in his own way. You know, he didn't fight the Hound. He didn't like fight that acid grim, even though he did. Him and Willow were the ones that took down the Hound, which was, you know, a pretty big thing. But his biggest contribution was coming up with that great idea of using the robots that we saw in chapter 2, and also using the Schnee shuttles that we haven't seen but do exist, and using both of those things to help those people that are underground and have no place to go. So now we actually have an escape route, and it's because of Whitley. And I mean, like, once again, it's just amazing how we can turn that annoying character into someone so useful. So yeah, they did a really good job with that character. Now I'm really interested to see how the relationship develops between Willow and Weiss and Winter. We saw how Whitley felt about his mother when Willow entered the room, and he was just like, oh god, this woman again. She's useless. All she does is drink. She's never there for me. Like, he had no hope for Willow. But hopefully after this, after she saved him, their relationship can sort of change, however slow it might be, and they can start to become like, you know, mother and son again, or mother and son to begin with. We don't even know if they had a relationship beforehand. This is the same thing with Winter. We already saw how Whitley's relationship with Weiss is. It's definitely getting there. You know, they have that sibling banter. You know, Weiss is very proud of Whitley, and Whitley is no doubt, you know, happy that, you know, Weiss is his sister. So I imagine their relationship is fine. Winter's relationship with Whitley, I don't even know how it was beforehand, but she's the only one that's not currently in the manner, like, you know, becoming, you know, a big old happy family. So by the time she gets back with like her family, she's probably gonna be like, what happened? What did I miss? Why is everybody so happy? But no doubt she's gonna be happy with that too. Like, I don't really see, once again, we don't know what the relationship was. Her relationship was with Willow and Whitley, so we don't know what to compare it to. But no doubt it was just as, you know, complicated as Weiss's relationship with them. So yeah, I am interested to see how this family comes together in the end. Something we're probably going to see at the end of the volume, maybe, when everybody's picking up the pieces. So moving away from the Schnees, I want to talk about next Penny and Nora. And the reason why I put these two together is because Nora didn't really have that much time to do anything, and her biggest moment was with Penny. So I thought, okay, I'll just mend both of them together. And that's no like fault of her character. That's no negative comment that I'm making, because I am telling you, the scene with Penny and Nora was the best scene in the chapter for me. No joke. Absolutely best scene of the chapter, and I'll tell you why. It's because when Nora is trying to comfort Penny, she is not using like words that she just made up, but instead using words that Blake taught her. You know, telling Penny that yes, a piece of you is wanting to go to get the relic and wanting to self-destruct and wanting to follow these orders. That is not all of you, and that is basically what Blake was telling Penny. Sure, it was about relationship advice, but you could turn that advice into really anything. And that's exactly what Nora does here, and I love that. I love how these characters are learning from each other. These main characters are learning from each other. So you have like Penny learning from Nora, and Nora learning from Blake. And Blake, hell, she learned what she told Nora, I imagine, from her time in Menagerie with Sun and her parents. So like, just I love that. I feel like that is honestly the pinnacle of character writing, when your characters are making mistakes and they learn from other characters, and then in turn help whatever character they meet next. So I thought that was really, like, in a sense, Sun and Blake's parents helped Penny in a way, like, even for a little moment. They helped Nora as well. They helped Blake. I love that character connection. It really connects the world and connects all these people that are just from different walks of life. And it also reminds me of like that saying, what is it? Give forward instead of like give it back, where you're giving back to the person who helped you. You're giving forward to the person next to you. So if somebody helped you, you help the next person. So yeah, that was a really good example of that. But like, more importantly, like, it's such good character writing when you can have a character learn from their mistakes and then help the character next to them. I feel like that's such a powerful thing you can do with your characters. Also is the fact that, like, you know, Penny and Nora interacting, like, those are two people that I never thought would interact. Like, if you told me in volume 2 that these two would interact, I'd be like, Penny and Nora, what? Those two are like those two are so different from each other and from like completely different walks of life. Like, what do they have? Why are they, like, how are they going to be able to connect? But RWBY found a way, which is why I love that these teams are, like, you know, spread out the way they are. They aren't just like Team RWBY on one side, Team Juniper on one side, and like they're always just like two different teams, and they're at times connecting. These are actually like, it finally looks like a big group of friends working together, and actually all of them, you know, being an essential part of one team. So I'm really grateful that Volume 8 has given us the chance to see these interactions that we normally wouldn't see. Focusing on Penny, we heard her orders of what her objective was, which was to get the relic and then self-terminate. And when I heard that, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Because it wasn't Watts' orders that she was following, because Watts hasn't been given a chance to give orders yet. So it must have been Ironwood that was giving those orders. And if that's the case, it's like, are you serious? You're gonna have Penny kill herself? Like, why? And then I guess it makes sense as far as his plan, because he's probably gonna have Penny like stab herself in the heart. She's staring at Winter so Winter could get the maiden powers when Penny dies. But still, it's like, really? You're gonna just kill Penny? You know Penny has a soul. You're just gonna kill her. And it's like, I can't say that Ironwood is a good leader. I really can't. Just like the amount that he's willing to sacrifice. But at the same time, I really do want to see more scenes with him so we can hear his reasoning. Like, I need him to seem more like a human being. Stop making stupid mistakes. Stop just like, I need to see the human behind the name General Ironwood for me to, like, you know, be invested in him. Because at the moment, he just seems like a really, just not an interesting villain. At least for me. So moving on, I want to talk about Ruby and Blake. And these two characters haven't really been given much screen time in the past. Like, they had that one moment in chapter 2. They had that brief, like, you know, talk in chapters in volume 6 in the farm. And they also had that, like, you know, little moment where Blake was like, we'll follow your lead. But other than that, they haven't really been given much time to connect. In this chapter, we actually get a heart-to-heart moment between the two. And after seeing this, it is criminal that we haven't seen these two interact more. Like, heart-to-heart. And it's because, like, their characteristics fit so well together. Like, you have Ruby, who's the embodiment of hope, and then you have Blake, who's a person who has lost all hope in the past with, like, the White Fang and just the way she's seen humans treat Faunus, and then her time with Adam. And now that we kind of see those roles reversed, like, you have Ruby now being the one that loses hope, and you have Blake being the one who is starting to find, like, a new lease on life. You know, she no longer has to deal with her abuser. She already knows that her father is turning the White Fang around and going back to protests that don't lead to death. And so you know that she's more, like, you know, positive. So, like, seeing these roles switch, it was really nice to see Blake be the one to comfort Ruby. Because when I think about the relationship, honestly, I think about the word hope. I feel like hope is very important in this relationship between these two. And, I mean, Ruby was the first one to give her hope in Volume 1. So having her be the one to tell her that you can't give up, you're the one that told me, you're the one that taught me not to give up, is really a powerful scene, I think. And I think it would have been even more powerful if we got more character interactions with them. But yeah, nonetheless, it was a great scene with these two. Actually, something that Blake said, even though she didn't know how to do what was right, she still tried to do what was right. That honestly reminded me of a Doctor Who scene with Peter Capaldi. And I'll play it right now so you guys who haven't seen it understand what I'm saying.
If I stand and fight, some of them might live, maybe not many, maybe not for long. Hey, you know, maybe there's no point in any of this at all, but it's the best I can do. So I'm going to do it, and I will stand here doing it till it kills me. You're going to die too. Someday. What would that be if you thought about it? What would you die for? Who I am. It's where I stand, It's where I fall.
So yeah, basically what he's saying is, yeah, it might not work. Yeah, I might be going in blind, but I still want to do what's right. And I feel like that's what a lot of people maybe don't get with Team Ruby. Like, they can go the easy route and just fly off into space with the relic and hide out until Salem comes up with an idea to go into space, or until the world ends. But at the end of the day, that's not doing what a huntsman is supposed to do, which is to save people. And yes, the way that Ruby is doing it, it is a lot more confusing and it's a lot harder, but it's also what's right. It's not the easy path, but it's the right path, you know? You can't leave all these people to die. You can talk about how tactful it is. You could talk about how, yes, we might be able to beat Salem if we go with Ironwood's plan, but at the end of the day, you're failing as a huntsman, which is to save people. Like, you go back to Earth, Salem has wiped everybody out, and then after that, you kill Salem. It's like, okay, Salem's dead, but there's nothing left. So I really like that they're reinforcing why Ruby is doing what she's doing, why everybody else is following behind her. Because honestly, I am 100% behind Ruby. I think what Ironwood is doing is completely wrong. You can talk about how he's a general and how he has years of experience, but at the end of the day, he's been doing this war for a long time, and maybe a fresh set of eyes, a fresh set of silver eyes might be just what he needs. And just like Penny, even after Blake's talk, I doubt Ruby will be 100%. Because after Blake's talk, you know, she started to feel like more herself, but then after that, we see what happens at the end, and we see the hope drain from her eyes, and she's like, oh my god, what the hell is Salem doing up there? So I do like how she's not 100% just better. This is something that's going to take time, and it's something that might not even, you know, end in this volume, which I like. I hope this carries on, and I hope, you know, it gets worse before it gets a whole lot better, which I think it will be once her whole team is back together. Finally, we have the Hound. Yes, the star of the show, the one that everybody is talking about after this chapter. I'm honestly like ecstatic. I was so happy when we saw that human in that Grim, which sounds very morbid, but I was, because like I was hoping that somebody would be inside there. I was hoping it'd be something similar to like a gnome, where it is like a human experimentation, and because now you have like different roads you could take. You can have Grim being able to use semblances, because technically they have a soul now, and Pyrrha said the reason why they don't have like semblances and auras because they don't have a soul. But now that they have a human inside them, there's a good chance that these, like I like to call them, high-end Grim, there's a good chance that they have a soul now, which is, you know, terrifying. Something I didn't catch at first was that the Faunus that was shown actually had silver eyes, which, first of all, Faunus with silver eyes, pretty cool to see. Second, though, this completely changes what I originally believed. Like, if you saw me like going off after the chapter was over, I was talking about how, oh, Remnant might have this like underground slave trade where they're trading like Faunuses, and Salem was able to like buy a few so she can make these Grim. Okay, I'm completely throwing that whole weird, crazy crack theory away, because it seems like what Salem is after is not just random people, but specifically silver-eyed people, and that means it's possible that only silver-eyed people are the ones that can maybe like connect with Grim enough to use their power. Like, I'm starting to wonder, like, if only a few people can use Grim power, you know what I'm saying? People connected with the old world. So you have silver-eyed people who are connected with the god of light, and then you have Cinder, who's connected to Ospen through the maiden powers. That's how she's able to have a Grim arm. And then you have Salem, who is from the original world. So yeah, her going into that Grim pool, she's able to use the power of the God of Darkness. So I'm wondering if that's the connection that you need. Like, if you're just a regular person from this world, then there's a good chance that you'll like either die or just like it just won't work. So yeah, it's like so far the only people that we've seen like using Grim power are the ones that are connected with this with this ability. With the old world. So I think this, like, you know, you have to ask the question, what does this mean for Ruby? What does this mean for Summer? Like, even Maria is kind of connected to this, because if Talk had gotten to her maybe like a decade later, there's a good chance that she could have been the Hound Grim that Ruby was facing. Like, that's a possibility. Like, you know, I wonder if she's gonna be like, oh shit, that could have been me. I also like the really cool design. The Hound was walking towards Penny and the others. He was like slowly turning back into the Hound. So like they had like the head of the Hound flapping in the background like a hood, and then it just like flapped back and then like enveloped him, similar to Venom, which I thought was really cool. I like that effect a lot. Like I said before, Whitley and Willow took down that Grim, and all that was left behind were the bones. So is that the end of the Hound? Yes. Is that the end of high-end Grim? I highly doubt that. Salem doesn't already have a whole pack already ready to go, then she knows that the Grim was a success, and she's gonna make more. And she's probably has silver-eyed people like in cages right now, and Summer could be one of them. I suspect that we will be seeing them again, if not in this volume, then in future volumes, specifically those where we're traveling to Vacuum. I feel like that those high-end Grims are going to be like the final bosses of those volumes. So I'm really excited to see more of those, and I'm excited to see what new crazy things they do with the Hound. So now that we're done with characters, we're going to move on to the action of the chapter. Starting with Blake and the Acid Spitter. This was the best fight hands down in the chapter. It was a good fight with good choreography. You had Blake, getting some swings in, and you had the Grim getting some swings in as well, and you could see that Blake was having some trouble. There was also good dialogue, quick, it didn't drag, and it was also meaningful. The only time that Blake was talking was when she needed to get Ruby to wake up, and her words weren't like, she didn't pause, she didn't stop, and the Grim didn't stop and let Blake say like a mouthful of words. She was fighting while she was talking, and what she was saying needed to be said with. So yeah, that was a really good fight. A really good use of the abilities from the Acid Spitter. Really good use of Blake's abilities, using the clones again with her dust. We saw that in volume 7, and more importantly, we saw that in volume 2 where it was introduced. So it was really cool that she's still using those. The next fight I want to talk about is the Hound, and this one was less impressive because just all the things that the Hound can do. It could fly, it could create more limbs. It's basically like a dog, so it's able to leap and stuff like that. I feel like with all the powers, also it can stretch its arms. But with all those powers, I feel like it wasn't utilized to its full potential. And I feel like the fights that we were having with it, besides Blake, because I feel like she was moving around a lot, but with Ruby, where she was taken down with one hit, and then that was the end of the fight between Ruby and the Hound. And then you had Weiss, who I'll talk about more later. But that was also a really quick fight. And then the Hound at the end of the day got taken down with one move. Well, technically, I guess you could say 2 moves. Maybe it got weakened by the Silver Eyes, but still, I really wanted a quick dynamic fight similar to the Blake and the Acid Spitter fight. Moving on to Weiss, I still feel like she is too stiff while she's fighting. There was a time where Weiss was a dancer, a sword fighter, and a magician, but now she seems to just be a magician, using summoning, shooting fireballs, ice. That seems to be all she's able to do. And yeah, we did have that quick little thing with her and Meryl, but those were just quick slashes, and then after that she became the wizard again. I want to see her become a dancer, a full-on dancer. I want to see her moves. I want to see her sword fight. I want to see her clash with her sword with the enemy. I want to see more, similar to what we got with Weiss versus that Persona user. I forgot her name, but she's from Persona 3, and we got to see her in her volume 4 through 6 attire, with her volume 4 through 6 moves using summoning, but she was still moving around. She was still sword fighting. She was still dancing. That's something I want to see more of. So I'm hoping in the future and in this volume we get to see more of her getting into the mix a lot more, rather than her just staying in one place and shooting stuff. I really want to see more of that. I feel like we need to. I'm not even asking for time dilation. I'm just asking for better, more flexible choreography. I did notice though, I also did like the sweat on her face. I feel like that's the first time that we've seen sweat. Of course I could be wrong, but that's the first time I've noticed sweat on a character. So I really like that little detail. I thought that was really cool. I also liked the Nevermore shot. I actually have it as my Twitter background now. I thought that was really cool. The wings coming out, and I would also like to see her summon that, if she can. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, that's pretty much all that we got with the fights, and that's pretty much at least all I have to say with the fights. I did mention Willow before in the past, how she did a really good job with the summoning, and how she was battling her fear while she was also saving her kids. I thought that was really cool. But now I want to move on finally to the tension of the episode. It seems like this episode was leaning more towards the horror side, similar to the Brunswick Farms episode, which I thought the first part of the Brunswick Farms, I think that episode, I feel like that chapter did a really good job. But then when we got into the sewers, I felt like it was a bit underwhelming in the horror side. A lot of people liked it, but for me, I feel like just the way it was shot, just how slow it was paced, I feel like it wasn't as scary as it could have been. That's similar to this. I feel like there were a lot of things that they could have done to make this a scary episode, but I feel like too many things were out in the open, which is similar to the apathy. I feel like they were too out in the open. to be scary. And I feel like that's the same thing with the Hound. Like, you know, it's like he's right there. I can see him. I'm not scared of him or anything. Now, if maybe, for example, they didn't know that the Hound was in the building, and you know, it was able to like walk, it was able to stealthily get inside the building, and then you have like Whitley by himself, or you have Willow by herself, and we know that the Hound maybe might be in there, like, you know, fear of the unknown, like, is it in there? I feel like there are hints that it is in there, but I don't know. And you have all these people by themselves. Now I feel like I'm gonna get scared. But when I know that the Hound is inside, and I know where it is, and I know what it's doing, and I know that we have like 4 people who can use special abilities and have fighting styles, like I'm not as scared as I could be, you know. So I feel like if they use the dark a lot more, and if they use the fact that we don't know, and if they like hinted that the Hound might be already be in the building, or it might not be, we don't know, I feel like then we would have been a lot more scared, or at least I would have been a lot more scared. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts of this chapter. Overall, this was a great chapter to return to, even with the faults that I had with it. I feel like it was such an action-packed and exciting episode. We learned a lot, we can speculate a lot. Just coming back, like, I feel like this volume had the most speculations in it. Like, who is the Hound? What is going on? What's Salem's plan? I feel like they did a really good job with the mystery in this volume. And this chapter, you know, right back into it, and we already got more mystery, already got more revelations. And I'm excited to see what the next chapter is, which is tomorrow for me. Tell me what you guys thought about the chapter down below. Tell me what you guys thought about my thoughts. Do you have anything you agree with, anything you disagree with? Tell me in the comment section. It really helps me out. Also, if you like the video, once again, you can like it and subscribe if you want to see more. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.